If you're considering a move to Sarasota, Florida, there are 10 things that you need to know to prepare yourself. And stick around to the end because I saved the most important for last. Hi everybody, my name is Zach Payne, a local real estate agent here in the Sarasota area. Let's get into these 10 things that you need to know before moving to Sarasota. Now, I don't want to get into too much detail about housing costs in Sarasota because I made a totally separate Sarasota housing cost breakdown video, which I'll link up top, that's super useful if you're trying to get an idea of how much the different areas of Sarasota are going to cost you. Sarasota's cost of living is 5% higher than the Florida average and about 6% greater than the national average. Remember, Sarasota is a destination and lifestyle location. Most people aren't forced to move to Sarasota because of a job or other external factors, and because of that, they're willing to pay a higher premium to live in such a highly desirable location compared to, well, less desirable locations. But if you still want to see some hard numbers for yourself, I've found a super useful and honestly pretty accurate website that will allow you to search and compare any town in the US based on their cost of living. I'll link it in the description below. It'll show you the average costs of dining out, groceries, rent, and other costs of living metrics. Just know that I try not to use the word expensive or cheap because they can be really relative terms. For somebody who's moving from California, where the median home price is around $850,000, Sarasota's real estate market is, well, it's cheap. For somebody in the Midwest who's used to seeing 1,700 square foot homes sell for $200,000 to $300,000, an 800 square foot condo listed for $500,000 to $600,000 is absolutely absurd and unfathomable, even if it is one of the most desirable locations in Sarasota. When it does come to real estate though, Sarasota's median sale price is about 28% higher than the national average. So I'll leave you with some numbers. The average of the median home price in Sarasota is $538,000. Basic utilities, including electric and water, are right around $150 to $200 a month, depending on the usage. While internet can be around $70 to $100 a month, gas has been hovering right around $330 to $359 for regular fuel. If you like going out to eat, a regular meal for two at an average restaurant can be upwards of $60 to $70, depending on if you get drinks and appetizers. Again, check out Numbeo. I'll leave them in the link in the description below. It's a really nice resource to have in your back pocket for comparison shopping. Like I mentioned earlier, Sarasota is a lifestyle destination. People aren't moving here because their job requires it. Actually, people are moving here because their job doesn't require them to be somewhere else. I've seen so many remote workers moving to Sarasota since 2020. If you go into any library or coffee shop around town, you'll find a handful of remote workers. Sarasota doesn't have major corporations around here. The largest employer in Sarasota County is Sarasota Memorial Hospital, with about 6,500 employees, with the second largest employer being PGT Innovations. Now, PGT is a company that manufactures windows and doors that are built to withstand storms, so kind of fitting that they would have an employment team of 1,975 people. But that's really it. Others on the list are like Gettle dealerships, the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and the Ringling College of Art and Design. So if you're somebody who's looking to move to a city with a large job market, Sarasota is really not for you. Sarasota now caters towards retirees, business owners, and remote workers. Sarasota is hot all the time with no breaks. In most other states I've been to, the heat during the day might be in the mid to high 80s or even the 90s during the summer if it's a really hot day. But it always seems to cool down when it comes closer to nighttime. Not here in Sarasota. It goes from 87 to 88 during the day, maybe down to 85 at night. There is no break from the heat, and to make matters even worse, the humidity in Sarasota averages a percentage of right around 73%, which just makes it even more muggy outside. Walking around for more than a few minutes in the direct sun will have you in your t-shirt drenched in sweat. Now, you can't speak about Sarasota weather without talking about hurricanes. Hurricane season in Sarasota is from June 1st to November 30th. Now, I've lived through seven major hurricanes to hit the west coast of Florida, with the most recent being Irma, Ian, and Idalia. These hurricanes scared the crap out of a lot of people, and it's understandable as to why. If you've never experienced one, it can be a really stressful experience, especially when you know one is heading your way for more than a week at a time. In my experience with these hurricanes, it's always best to be overly prepared. If you're looking at buying a home, consider the value of hurricane impact windows or even corrugated window coverings. Now, let me give you a really, well, not so funny story about one of my hurricane experiences. I remember I was in high school when Hurricane Irma hit. I was excited because we were getting an extended weekend away from school. My parents were keeping a close eye on the storm as it was supposed to hit South Florida, like towards Miami. As the hurricane came closer, a lot of people from South Florida started to evacuate the area and make their way up the coast towards Fort Myers and Sarasota. Because of this, our storm shelters became overcrowded and full of people. Then about 12 to 15 hours before the storm was supposed to make landfall, it shifted to the left and now was coming straight for Fort Myers and a whole lot closer to us than we had ever anticipated. We were left running to Home Depot, Lowe's, and other stores looking for plywood that we could use to board up our windows, but unfortunately, everybody else had the same idea. There was no wood left for us. Luckily, my dad, who's also a real estate agent, had connections with a local community building near us. We contacted them and they had lots of plywood that we could use because if nobody took it, then it was just gonna blow away in the storm. So as the outer bands began hitting our house in the late hours of the night, my dad and I were standing outside drilling plywood into our windows, preparing for the worst. All in all, we didn't even lose power to our house, and our area of Sarasota sustained relatively minimal damages in the grand scheme of things. But being caught unsuspectingly with a situation like that just added so much additional stress that we definitely did not need. After any hurricane passes, it's almost a ritual for people with larger trucks to drive around their neighborhood, and that's exactly what my dad and I did, to kind of just check on our neighbors and see how the damage was. To our surprise, a handful of large oak trees had come tumbling down, even though the winds really weren't that strong. The rainfall had saturated the ground just enough to loosen the base of the trees and allow them to come down. So now when I'm showing property to my clients and I hear them say, "Oh wow, look at how beautiful that oak tree is. It gives so much shade. We could put up a swing, the kids would love that." All that I can think about is that tree is awfully close to the house, and even if it doesn't come down in a storm, the winds pushing that branch back and forth across those shingles, it's just gonna cause premature wear on the roof. Having those trees so close to the roof of your house, although might look pretty and yes, provide a lot of shade, trust me, you do not want it that close to your house. Of course, when I tell them this, they say, "Wow, we never would have thought of that." And of course they wouldn't. It's not their job to. But those kinds of things are my job. The value of a real estate agent comes with a different perspective that people who aren't from here or aren't familiar enough with the kinds of damages that these storms can create just don't realize. When moving to a new area, it's always nice to know that the healthcare is quality, and in Sarasota, you definitely don't have to worry about that. Sarasota has two major hospitals, being HCA Sarasota Doctors Hospital, as well as Sarasota Memorial Hospital. Sarasota Memorial Hospital has been ranked among the top 50 best hospitals for specialty services in the nation. But a little further out, you have Lakewood Ranch Medical Center, as well as Venice Regional Hospital. But it doesn't end there. Sarasota Memorial has also established 5 urgent care locations open 24 hours throughout Sarasota for those serious but not life-threatening events. No matter where you live in all of Sarasota, you're probably going to be less than 15 to 20 minutes from any medical facility in the area. I've got another fun story for you. Again, back when I was in high school, it was the summer of 2018. I woke up and like I do every morning, I walk outside to check on the weather. On this day, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. I mean, it was beautiful. It was hot and I was loving it. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna wash my car today. So I pull my car into the middle of the driveway, fill up a bucket with soap, and most importantly, take my shirt off so I can even out that tan I've been working on all summer. Little did I know, that was going to be the end of that tan as I knew it. So I was out washing my car for maybe an hour. It could have even been less, I don't know. And when I finished, I came inside and was drinking a glass of water when all of a sudden, I get these chills running down my back. And within 20 minutes, my back looked like this. When my mom saw that, she started freaking out, and that's when the most unbearable itch and searing pain that you could ever imagine began to set in. We rushed to Sarasota Memorial Urgent Care on Bee Ridge Road, where I was given steroid medicine to help with the uncontrollable itch. Thankfully, I was able to go from my house to seeing a doctor in under 30 minutes, whereas if I had to go all the way to Sarasota Memorial Hospital's main location, it would have taken me 20 or 30 minutes just to get there, and who knows how long it would have taken to see an actual doctor. Sarasota has so many private doctor's offices, including pain medicine clinics, dermatologists, and cosmetic surgeons in the area. If you're looking to move here and you have school-aged kids, Sarasota is ranked the #1 best school district in all of Florida, according to niche.com. Sarasota has a handful of A-ranked schools from elementary all the way through high school, as well as plenty of options for high-ranking private schools as well. As for higher education, Sarasota is known for its State College of Florida campuses in Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, and Venice. But there's also a University of South Florida campus in Sarasota as well as the Ringling College of Art and Design. Outside of those options, USF in Tampa is the closest college to Sarasota. Sarasota has tons of options when it comes to recreation. Obviously, it's a town on the water, so fishing, boating, kiteboarding, kayaking, and jet skiing are all very popular activities, especially in the beautiful Sarasota Bay. But there's also beaches, miles and miles of white sandy beaches with fun shopping and recreational areas attached to a lot of them. My two favorite are Siesta Key Village and St. Armand's Circle, which is close to Lido Key Beach. Both of these areas offer shopping and dining with a super beachy, summery vibe to them. I found that St. Armand's is slightly more formal and upscale than Siesta Key Village, so if you're looking for a nice place for dinner, St. Armand's Circle is a great place to go. But if you're looking to grab a quick bite to eat in your board shorts and flip-flops before heading out on the water, Siesta Key Village might be the way to go. But if water activities aren't really your thing, Sarasota also has tons of public parks with walking or biking trails where you can still get out and be in nature. Sarasota also has great cultural attractions like the Ringling Museum, where you can learn about John and Mabel Ringling and the circus that they brought to Sarasota. Or maybe Marie Selby Botanical Gardens, where you can walk and explore the beautifully decorated grounds of Mrs. Selby. What about Moat Marine Laboratory, where you can learn about all of the marine life around our town? Sarasota Jungle Gardens, where you can pet animals, feed flamingos, and watch alligators bake in the sun. Or maybe if you enjoy baking in the sun yourself, you can catch an Orioles spring training game at the Ed Smith Stadium, or even just walk down Main Street on a Saturday morning and enjoy a local farmer's market. No matter what you enjoy, Sarasota has an activity for you. Now, if you're moving to Sarasota from a larger city, you're most likely going to be disappointed in the transportation system here. Driving in this town can be a nightmare, and especially at times of peak season when the main access roads are completely full of cars. And unfortunately, it's the only realistic way to get around this city. Sarasota has really limited public transportation, and what it does have is extremely inconvenient for people to use. I mean, we live in the Sunshine State after all, and bus stops in Sarasota force people to stand outside in the grass, in the beating sun with no shade, for 15 to 20 minutes if they're unlucky, just to wait for the bus to show up. There are more trolley systems the closer you get to the water and towards Siesta Key Beach that will take folks to and from Siesta Key, but that's really it. Sarasota is not walkable or bikeable, point blank, period. There are very small pockets of downtown Sarasota that might be considered walkable, but with the amount of elderly people, along with the tourists who are looking everywhere but the road, pedestrians and bikers are in one of the most dangerous areas in the country. I mean, just the other day, I was driving home from a showing, and in Sarasota, we have an 18-mile-long bike trail that goes through the center of our town. It's very clearly marked as a pedestrian-only road, and even has a metal pole in the middle of it. And yet, I saw somebody confused and turn down it and start driving like it was a main road meant for cars.
Get on video. Yep.
Oh,
Get
no,
on
he's
video.
turning
Get on video.
Zoom in.
Just okay. Don't mind me. Zoom in.
Driving down.
Oh shit. Yo.
Where is he going?
Thankfully, bikers stopped and told the car that they needed to back up and turn around, but could you imagine walking on a pedestrian-only path and seeing a car barreling at you at 45 miles an hour? The next thing you need to know about Sarasota is it has plenty of shopping opportunities, the largest and most popular being University Town Center Mall, as well as the surrounding shopping. In UTC Mall, you'll find anything from your basic department stores like Dillard's and JCPenney, to Lululemon, Nike, Tesla, and Apple stores, to more high-end boutique shops as well. But across the street is a whole nother strip mall with Dick's Sporting Goods, a Golf Galaxy, Target, Ulta, Best Buy, and a lot more. And just north of that is yet again more shopping. This time Marshall's, TJ Maxx, HomeGoods, Ross, and other budget shopping stores. Other than that mega shopping area, there's basically a Publix or a Walmart on every street corner. We also have a handful of Whole Foods and Trader Joe's throughout Sarasota, as well as a couple of Costco's and Sam's Clubs as well. Now, the housing options in Sarasota are extremely diverse, from small ranch-style homes in central Sarasota to fully custom-built tropical waterfront mansions on Casey Key. You can find whatever type of home you want in whatever price range you want here in Sarasota. There are about 8 to 10 different locations that people look to when moving to Sarasota, and I've covered them all in this video right here, really in depth. But those areas are downtown, North Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, Central Sarasota, west of the trail, Gulfgate, Palmer Ranch, east of I-75, and each of these areas appeals to completely different people with completely different budgets. Like I had mentioned in that other video, you could live in downtown on the water in a high-rise condo building that costs $1 to $2 million, and you could overlook downtown or the water or the bay, you know, whatever it is, and you could walk downstairs, get into your boat, and drive out into the Sarasota Bay. That is the option that you have living in downtown. Or you could live east of I-75 and be in a 5 to 10 acre ranch where you're raising horses and chickens. I don't know where else you could live those two drastic lifestyles within a 10-mile radius of each other than in Sarasota. I mean, you're not getting that in Tennessee or in New York City. I mean, if you live in New York City, the only lifestyle you can live is that downtown lifestyle. You're not raising cows in New York, but you can do that in Sarasota. And now arguably the most important thing that you need to know before moving to Sarasota is its lifestyle. Sarasota has a slow-paced feel to it. It's a warm-weathered tropical beach town where many people move to retire or work remotely. It's an extremely safe town. It's a great place to raise a family or wind down and retire. Sarasota has a great community atmosphere where you can enjoy the company of laid-back, like-minded individuals at many of the local events and block parties that are put on for us residents weekly. It's a great place to enjoy the outdoor weather, whether that means out on your back porch or out on the boat on the water. For those of us that are active, Sarasota has so many opportunities waiting for you here. So if you're considering a move into or out of Sarasota, I would love to be a real estate resource for you. Just call the number on the screen, or better yet, schedule a call with me in the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.